Alright, check it out, guys. Brother Maynard here with another game. This is 2,400 points. My demons against some wood elves. And this is a modified battle line scenario. You can see on the table there's 3 objectives that are worth 300 victory points apiece. There's 2 right in the middle there, and then 1 is up by the in between the house and the tree man up there. So the left side of my deployment, as usual, I got my general who's got Spirit Swallower, and she rolled up the spell that gives always strikes first to a unit within 18 inches. Then I have my big unit of Demonettes who has the Stubborn Banner and the Siren Song Herald in there. And then I have my level 2 caster with Lore of Fire, a solo Blood Crusher, 6 Seekers, 5 Flesh Hounds, another solo Blood Crusher, another unit of Demonettes. They have the Siren standard, so you can't you can only hold as a charge reaction against that unit, and the Herald in there with the Other Blade. And then I have my unit of 6 Fiends. Okay, so over here my opponent's got he's got 2 Eagles in the back, a unit of Wild Riders in front of them, a unit of Glade Riders pretty much right on the objective. In the house there he has a unit of 6 Way Watchers. And then he's got, in the middle, he's got 3 units of Dryads, another unit of 6 Treekin, and then his Tree Man in that building he's got a bigger unit of Glade Guard, and in there he's got, actually they're right behind the building. They're going to move into it on his first turn, but he's got his Battle Standard in that unit, level 4 behind, and then 2 other units of Glade Guard. Yeah, so like I said, he got the first turn. He moves his Battle Standards unit into the house and just does a couple wounds here and there with shooting. So nothing major. So we go into my turn. I move my general away from all 3. She's staring down the throat of 3 units of Glade Guard. So I just move her over here, and then everybody just kind of moves up like so. Over here, I actually think my Blood Crusher declared a charge. Oh no, he's going to charge next turn. He's going to hit the Way Watchers in the building next turn. So yeah, I just move up like so. Okay, so in Magic, I get the Flaming Sword off on this unit, and they've got. Remember, this is the unit with the Siren Song, so I'm going to pull either his Treekin or his Tree Man in there. Okay, so kind of funny what happened, actually. I Siren Song his Treekin into this unit, and so he decides to send the Tree Man in there as well, and the Treekin fail their charge. So now that the Tree Man's in there all alone, and you can see this picture was actually taken at the end of combat. So I lost a couple Demonettes, didn't manage to do any wounds to the Tree Man. And otherwise, his turn had minimal movement, just shooting. So when we go into my turn, I charge the Flesh Hounds into the unit of Dryads, and just kind of do the sideways shuffle thing with my general and this Blood Crusher and the Seekers, just because I want to be able to get a counter charge off on the Treekin if he decides to send him into that combat. Yeah, like I said, I sent the Hounds into the Dryads over here, and then my Blood Crusher charges the Way Watchers. He pulled them out of the building because, I was getting pretty close to it. So I had a crazy long charge with my Blood Crusher, and I made it. So that's great. And then my unit of Demonettes with the Siren Standard charges the Glade Riders, and he can't flee because they have the Siren Standard. So that's kind of a nasty trick to pull on the Wood Elves. And then I just end up moving the Fiends. I'm going to bring them over here to fight in the middle to help me take down some Dryads, because the Demonettes are just going to wipe out the Glade Riders, and then they've pretty much got this objective captured, so they don't really, there's no reason for the Fiends to be over here anymore. So in combat, my Blood Crusher just completely fluffs against the Way Watchers. The only thing that does anything is his Stomp. He kills one with his Stomp. And then the Flesh Hounds break the unit of Dryads that they're fighting, but they don't catch them. Yeah, like I said, the Demonettes just make short work of the Glade Riders and reform. And yeah, okay, so in his turn, I think at this point I still haven't done any damage to the Tree Man yet, which is really disappointing with the Flaming Sword up. But so in his turn, he decides to take the Treekin in. So hopefully my unit of Demonettes can hold out long enough for me to countercharge the Treekin with my General and maybe the Blood Crusher. Yeah, and then over here he just reforms this unit of Dryads to face the Fleshhounds. And then he just moves the Eagle and the Wild Riders out of the Demonette's charge arc. Yeah, and actually in his shooting phase he ends up picking off my level 2. And actually I think, I thought he would be pretty safe. He's, from where he was at, he had cover from one unit through the combat. Yeah, they'd have to shoot through the combat to get him. So cover there, and then he had cover from the other unit from the forest. And then his lookout sir, and then a 4-up ward. So I thought he was going to be okay, but he ends up through some pretty crappy luck. He ends up biting it. And then I think, in kind of a rash decision, my opponent ended up dropping his Hail of Doom, either on my General or the Blood Crusher, and doing nothing. And I also lose a couple Demonettes to shooting, and that's pretty much his turn. So when we go to my turn, okay, so what happened was, with the Demonette Treekin combat, my Demonettes end up killing the Tree Man outright, and then winning the combat. They kill enough Treekin to win the combat, and then they break the Treekin, who don't flee very far. So in my turn, the Demonettes charge them, kill them, and reform. So now I have my Demonettes and my Blood Crusher taking the objective on the left, and then I decide to charge my Fiends and the Seekers into the unit of Dryads on the middle. And I think I took my General into that combat as well, but she failed the charge. So that's why she's just sitting in the middle. And then the Demonette unit on the right, I just end up reforming them. Like so. This is how things look here. Okay, yeah, brought the Fiends and the Seekers into the Dryads, so I'm going to be able to overrun into his other Dryad unit. And then you can see up top, I just moved the Fleshhounds out of their charge arc. And then I just reformed the Demonettes to face his Wild Riders and the Eagle. Alright, so in combat, just wipe the Dryad unit. And actually, I think I think I got the Holy Strike's first spell off on the Fiends. And that's why the Dryads weren't able to do any wounds to them, is because the Fiends ended up wiping out the Dryads before they could attack. So I reformed the Seekers like so, and then just overrun with the Fiends into the next unit of Dryads. And you can see my Blood Crusher finally woke up and decided he could kill some Weight Watchers, so he just kills them real quick. So in my opponent's turn, he just ends up bringing his bow units around. He charges the Eagles into the rear of the Fleshhounds. I don't think he knows how tough Fleshhounds are, or maybe he thought he could pop them by having a charge in the rear. So he does that. And yeah, he just moves the Eagle and the Wild Riders out of the Demonette's charge arc again, which is fine with me. I just want the Demonettes to sit on that objective. They're fine where they are. In combat, in Magic actually, he gets the Shield of Thorns through on the Dryads, which finishes off one of the Fiends. And his Eagle ends up, I don't kill his Eagle, so his Eagle wins the combat by enough to makes me fluff my instability roll, and 3 Hounds die, so that's great. But actually the Fiends end up finishing off the Dryads, so that's cool. So going into my turn, it looks like this. I'm pretty much, now, the way you capture the objectives is you have to have more wounds than your opponent within 6 inches. So you gotta remember, he's got that entire unit of Glade Guard plus his Battle Standard and his General in the building. So there's really nothing that I can do to take that objective, so I just move everybody away from it. You'll notice that my unit of Demonettes with the Herald is no longer around. Yeah, that's because somebody's been eating the Glade Guard shooting this whole time, and I think it was them. So going into my turn, I take the Blood Crusher into the flank of the Eagle, so I'm going to kill them real quick. Reform the Fiends, and bring the Blood Crusher, my General, over. I'm trying to trap that unit of Wild Riders. so I can just pin them down and get the points off them real quick. So here's how things are looking over here. And then the eagle actually, I think, finishes off one of the hounds, and then the blood crusher makes short work of it. And actually, you can see my herald from the demonette unit is still alive. The whole unit's been shot, but I don't think she survives. I think he ends up picking her off before the end of the game. And then I just kind of move the seekers around the building because I don't want them to get shot either. Alright, so in his turn, you remember I had a Blood Crusher on his hill, so he charges his Wild Riders into the Blood Crusher, casts Flesh to Stone and Shield of Thorns on him, kills the Blood Crusher, reforms, like so. Actually, I think I ended up letting him cast Shield of Thorns because I thought that there was no chance it was going to kill the Blood Crusher, but it ended up killing him, so he ended up reforming after killing the Blood Crusher with Shield of Thorns, so that was pretty funny. So here's how the table is looking thus far. He's just moving all his bows over. Okay, so in my turn, now my keeper has had 4 wounds shot off of her by his Glade Guards, so I decide, in kind of a rash decision, I decide to take her into the Wild Riders because I figure she'll do at least 4 wounds. She'll be back up to full strength, and then I just gotta wait out his last turn. But it turns out she does. Well, I'll just get to that in a minute. Otherwise, he just kind of moves his eagle away, so I can't get him with the demonettes. Okay, so in combat, my keeper ends up putting 5 wounds on his Glade Riders. I'm thinking that's great. She'll just get all the wounds, and she'll be back up to full strength. But he manages to save 3 of them, so she's sitting on 3 wounds, and then the fiends have to finish off the Wild Riders, and they reform like so. And so that takes us to the Wood Elves' last turn, and yeah, he shoots my keeper right off the table. So actually, at that point, it was a really solid victory to me. But losing her, the points for her plus her being a general ends up bringing it to within 30 points. And then it just came to, I had one more objective than him, so I ended up winning the game that way. So real close game. So anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys later.